Hey folks, this is Rhykker, and it's official, it's happening, it's real. After all the leaks, the speculation, everything, it was all true. Diablo 2 Resurrected has been revealed at Blizzconline.
Not even death can save you from me.
And it looks glorious. Myself and a few others actually got an early sneak peek at the trailer, as well as the opportunity to ask some questions of Rod Ferguson, the Diablo executive producer, and the Diablo 2 Resurrected principal designer, Rob Gallerani, who were able to provide some terrific insight into what it took to resurrect this classic. Haha, I said the thing. But first off, let me walk you through my first impressions. The trailer starts, and you hear the familiar voice of Maurice from the D2 cinematics.
The Wanderer.
And I could not stop smiling. I did not expect to feel so much emotion, especially after all the leaks. But the nostalgia was still there, and it was so powerful. And then we see the gameplay footage, and I was absolutely blown away. I was expecting like 2D sprite remakes, like with the StarCraft remaster, but it's full on 3D graphics. I couldn't believe it. It looks better than I would have ever expected. But okay, whatever. It looks great. What about the details? How does it play? Does it feel great? Does it feel different? There's been tons of concerns over the years about a potential D2 remaster or remake. And if they're remaking the game, especially if they're remaking it in 3D, how are they going to capture all the quirks of D2's engine, all the little things that make D2 feel like D2? I've had discussions with some of the fathers of D2, and it's something that David Brevik and Max Schaefer have been vocal about, just the difficulty in capturing all the nuances of the game engine that give the game its feeling. We've seen different fan attempts at remaking Diablo 2 in 3D engines, be it as mods in StarCraft 2 or in Grim Dawn. And while the content of D2 is in there, it still doesn't feel like D2. They're great, but it's not D2. It's some other game with a D2 skin. Playing a 3D game just feels different from playing a 2D game. So that leads to the big question. We're clearly seeing 3D graphics here. Will Diablo 2 Resurrected still feel like D2? The answer is yes. Yes, it will. Why? Well, because underneath this beautiful new 3D veneer, we have the same D2 engine running. In fact, it's the same game. Diablo 2 is running underneath everything. And you can toggle back and forth between the old graphics and the new graphics. So it really is just, you're playing Diablo 2 with a layer of 3D visuals being rendered on top of it. It's a brilliant solution. And I don't know why we've never discussed this as a possibility, because it just completely bypasses any issue of the game feeling different. Now, while a huge amount of the remaster is visual, they've also brought some quality of life changes. For example, you now have a shared stash between your characters like in Diablo 3. So now, transferring items between two of your own characters is no longer an annoying nightmare. They've also added auto gold pickup, but they understand that not everyone wants that, so it's an option. If you want it, it's there. If you don't enable it. Everyone's happy. Another quality of life change is an option to auto-invite people to your party when they join your game, and to auto-accept party requests. They're also completely remaking the cinematics, shot for shot. We didn't get a glimpse at this. I really look forward to seeing these, but they're not AI upscaling them, they're not remastering them, they're literally completely remaking the cinematics, all 27 whatever minutes of them. And they intend to keep as faithful as possible to the originals. I adore those cinematics, so I look forward to seeing them. I imagine all the sound, the voice recordings will remain the same. I can't imagine they're going to re-record that aspect of it, but all the visuals are going to be redone. And as you can see, there's some changes made to the user interface, but it's all very much keeping in the spirit of Diablo 2. Now, again, visuals are improved, we have up to 4K resolution, there's full-on dynamic lighting to make things even more immersive, and to add to that immersion, in addition to including all the classic and nostalgic audio and sounds, remastered of course, they're also adding in more ambient sounds like wind blowing and trees rustling. And something I really wasn't expecting, D2 Resurrected will also be releasing on consoles with controller support for PC. And there's going to be cross progression. In other words, you can be playing on your PC, step away, move to your living room, log in on a console that supports cross progression, and then keep playing on your same character. And that last bit actually ties us into some Q&A. A little bit of backstory: as the rumors stated, the studio working on Diablo 2 Resurrected is Vicarious Visions, which just recently joined Blizzard. And Vicarious Visions has a history of remastering games. Rob Gallerani was with Vicarious Visions for 20 years, so I asked him what were the greatest challenges that his team faced, specifically with regards to remastering D2. And he gave some great insight into the whole process of making a remaster. Quote, "It's most important that we embrace what about the game people love. We have to look at what is right for Diablo 2. We really want to modernize it, because the world has changed. We want to take a game that has been around and stood the test of time and make it be able to be digested by people in this modern world without betraying the core of what that game was. And sometimes those things are at odds with each other. So the question becomes, how do we modernize the game by still making it a 20-year-old game? A lot of times we would try things only to realize this doesn't feel right. Bringing controller support was a really big test for us. This is a PC-first game, and so we can never make anything that would support the controller make the experience for a keyboard and mouse player not just worse, but different at all. Every single thing in the game was a discussion. Okay, we want to do this, we want to modernize it, but we can't betray the old way. Now, I asked them whether the reception of Warcraft 3 Reforged had any impact on the development of Diablo 2 Resurrected. And Rod Ferguson clarified that it was a separate team that worked on D2 Resurrected, and that the biggest takeaway from the Reforged situation revolved around how they dealt with the original game. A big complaint from fans of Warcraft 3 was that if they were unhappy with the remaster, they could not go back to playing the original Warcraft 3. So for Resurrected, they are not taking down the original D2 to launch Resurrected. Both games will continue to be available. I know as the rumors were heating up, I was seeing some chatter on Reddit and forums and people saying, oh, make sure you back up your old D2 before they take that away from you. It's not being taken away. And this led into the topic of modding. Diablo 2 currently has a healthy modding scene, with some mods that have been around for years and decades even. So the good news there is that the existing modding scene will remain untouched, because the original D2 is also remaining untouched. So all the mods that exist will continue to exist. No mods are being taken down, no cease and desist, no mods will stop working, everything continues to exist. But can D2 Resurrected be modded? Well, Rob explained that D2 Resurrected is being brought to modern Battle.net, where they can better combat duping and hacked items. Quote, "Hopefully, item duping is diminished or gone with our fixes." Now, a lot of mods in D2 effectively work by hacking the game. That kind of modding can't be supported in D2 Resurrected for security reasons. However, there is some good news for mods in Diablo 2 Resurrected. It was explained that a lot of the things in the original game used to be hard-coded. In other words, modders couldn't change them or it would be immensely difficult to. But now with the remaster, as they were moving files around, they've sort of readjusted things. They've moved a lot of those hard-coded things into data, so depending on the mod, it might actually be easier to mod certain aspects of Diablo 2 Resurrected. For instance, adding items apparently was not even possible in the past. You had to take an existing item and change it. Now you can actually add new items. As for a release date, Diablo 2 Resurrected is releasing later this year. And I may be biased towards Diablo, but it's looking to be Blizzard's best remaster yet. The price will be $39.99, or you can buy the deluxe edition for $59.99. That's going to include Diablo 3 and all the Diablo 3 expansion content. But before release, they're planning to start with a single-player PC alpha, because they want feedback. They want to make sure that they're not going too far with the quality of life improvements and other changes. They want to make sure they keep it pure, keep it true and authentic to D2. But if the feedback overwhelmingly encourages them to make balance changes or increase inventory size, they're open to making that kind of change. But really for now, they wanted to err on the side of being true and authentic, because they really seem to understand how important that is for a lot of people. And you can sign up right now to be eligible to be invited into the alpha at Diablo2.com. And that's going to wrap up this video. But do stay tuned to my channel because I've got a lot of videos coming up on all the juicy BlizzCon Diablo details. In the meantime, if you missed my video from 3 weeks ago that covered the Diablo 2 Resurrected leak, I encourage you to check that out for extra insider info. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube supporters for making these videos possible. If you like what you see on this channel and want to support the creation of more content, you can consider pledging on YouTube or Patreon and unlocking behind-the-scenes content, monthly virtual hangouts, and more. If you enjoyed this video, please share it. Check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Rhykker's Raiders for more Diablo content.